All right, well, welcome back, guys, to another About Teams video. If you like our content, keep making sure to like the videos and subscribing. Pretty much, though, today's agenda, we're going to be recapping our predictions last week, where me and Colin stand in the head-to-head battle, and then break down next week's games, and then have a little bit of, who is really the MVP, and just about the MVP award in general. Is it, really an MVP award or more so a quarterback award? So we got a little fun discussion there going at the end. But I guess we'll recap with, I guess, the triple header on Saturday. I went Vikings, you went Bengals, and it was looking good for me for a while, but then the Bengals stormed back. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter, and then they eventually won in overtime when the Vikings could not get two QB sneak opportunities off in a row to gain an inch. The Bengals held firm to edge that out. It was a really important game for both teams. My opinion was, Vikings, both teams playing with backups. The Vikings quarterback made some really weird throws. The interception to the ground that the defensive lineman picked off, I was like really frustrated. But, at the end of the day, I would probably be a little bit more mad if Kirk was in it. But at this point, I kind of know where our season stands. Just kind of a mediocre team now. But I will say, the one positive I guess I can take away from this as a Vikings fan is was seeing Jefferson and Acid on the field together, because I think what makes Jefferson so great is when, even if, he isn't getting like 100+ yards, I think he had like 85 or something, which is like an all right game for him. But his ability to draw those double teams and leave people like Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson open. It was great to see Addison pop up for, I think it was like 111 yards and a couple touchdowns. So just his performance as a rookie has been great. But otherwise, it was a great prediction from you. Bengals came back, and T. Higgins with that crazy Moss catch. I don't know if you have anything else to add on to that game. That was a fun one.
Jake Browning steroid test,
They're like, yeah, that was interesting.
That was weird. I thought that was weird.
That's how they do, though, when people are performing. That was funny.
He's not like ripped, like.
Yeah, a little bit weird. I know they sometimes do that in baseball, but it was a good revenge game for Jake Browning.
Baseball has a history of steroids, though. I feel like
football
is a little different, especially for quarterbacks. Like, you don't see, like, you what Peyton Manning had an HGH incident. Yeah, that's about it, though.
I agreed. Yeah. So, it was a good game. Jake Browning, revenge game, former practice squad member of the Vikings. Really good to see.
He said should have never cut me, right?
Yeah. Even though, Jake Browning, let's calm down a little bit.
Let's calm down.
Let's see if you can get into the playoffs. But great game by you. And then we were both wrong on the next one. I think we both took the Steelers over the Colts. Steelers are in free fall mode. Mike Tomlin's job is kind of now in serious question, I think, among Steelers fans.
I don't know why I picked the Steelers. I could have sworn.
Yeah, it was looking good. They were up 13-0 early, but I think after that hit on Michael Pittman, the Colts just rallied around that, and they just went on a 30-0 run to end the game and blow out the Steelers. And I think when we didn't talk about Coach of the Year, we didn't mention it, but Shane Steichen of the Colts, man, he's done great work with Anthony Richardson going down. Colts are 8-6 in the playoff fight, and if they make it, he has an excellent case along with D'Amico Ryans and Dan Campbell of the Lions.
Does Richardson have a chance of playing in the playoffs or no? No.
Mm-hmm. And even if he did, I think you kind of just roll with who got you here basically this whole year and kind of wait for it. You don't want to throw him into the fire of the playoffs, but no, I believe his shoulder injury was season ending. Yeah. And then the night game, which ended great for me to officially tie us in the split, was the Detroit Lions beating the Denver Broncos pretty handedly. A bounce back Lions game at home. The Denver offense couldn't get much going. Defense looked like it was at the beginning of the year. Sam Laporta, what a rookie season that guy's having for the Lions. When they trade away TJ Hawkinson, they found a guy right behind to
So Laporta out of Iowa?
Yeah, both Lions love their Iowa tight ends. Hawkinson out of Iowa.
Tight end university.
Yeah, they've both been doing good.
I believe Kittle came out of Iowa too.
Yeah, no, it is a tight end, but they did really have nothing else because you never hear of any Iowa quarterbacks getting drafted or receivers. But yeah, so that pretty much summed up the Saturday games.
Brock Purdy, or is that Idaho?
He was Iowa State.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he was a Cyclone.
Oh, okay.
But now recapping in the Sundays games where we had the same predictions the rest of the way. We don't have to really skip. We can really skip the Dolphins, Jets. I mean, Miami at home did their thing. Jets, Zach Wilson, not the game he had last week, and they brought in Trevor Siemian, who was not the answer. 30s at Miami win. Pretty good look for the Dolphins offense, considering no Tyreek, and the Jets defense is definitely respectable. But I think the Jets are cooked. We got news that Rodgers is officially not coming back, even though I thought he never was this season. But
he's not?
No. They said he's still like 3 to 4 weeks away, and that takes it to the end of the season. And they are not making the playoffs. And then a very weird one. We saw Carolina win in front of their 20 fans, 9-7. Definition
the most boring game in history.
Yeah, no one. I don't think any of us watched it. The Falcons, man, you needed this one if you wanted to stay in the NFC South, and you still have a chance.
Ritter is officially garbage.
It was awful. But the Panthers, I guess, get your second win. So congratulations to you guys. The Cleveland Browns came back against the Bears. It was a little bit of a scare there, but at the end, the Bears still had a chance. Darnell Mooney had the Hail Mary in his hand, could not come down with it. So the Bears were sitting at 5-8, could have been 6-8 on a heat streak to maybe sneak into the playoffs, but I think this loss kind of officially eliminates their hopes to bed and raises some serious questions on what they will do with that number 1 overall pick, as long as it is Carolina's. And then moving in, we were both right on this, taking Tampa Bay over Green Bay. Have a great game from Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdowns.
Killed it.
Just was amazing. Buccaneers dominated the Packers on offense. The Jordan Love had a decent game, but they couldn't get anything going really in the second half and in the fourth quarter. So Buccaneers, big win. And then kind of the rest of the way, we saw the Saints kind of, Tommy DeVito. The story was fun, but not necessarily the best QB. And it was pretty much kind of everything you would expect, except I think you might want to take your victory lap on the Buffalo Bills over the Cowboys. I mean, we both picked the Bills, but I know the Bills is your Super Bowl sleeper. We're able to pull off a huge W against the Cowboys in what was
I'd say Dak officially lost his MVP ballot for that. You can't have games like that if you're the most valuable player in the league.
And the Cowboys too, with the NFC East on the line, you could have used this one, and you just didn't even show up.
If anything, that I think this contributes to how bad the Eagles are actually looking this year.
Yeah, because I mean, when you blow out the Eagles and then just go into Buffalo and get blown out, I think it says something both about the Eagles, because we can also mention that as our last recap, them choking, but Dallas just doesn't show up on the road, and if Philly, despite how bad they've been, they have 2 games against the Giants and Cardinals left. And if they win out, they get the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. So Dallas, despite how great you are at home, you may not get any home games. So
I know.
Not a way you want to go out. But so if you have anything else to recap, it was a very weird week. The Eagles choked at the end. Seahawks kept their playoff hopes alive.
That was crazy.
Drew Lock game-winning drive legacy, but
legacy Drew Lock game.
But with that being said,
I think it's just an interesting year, honestly, like with all the injuries and all the different, like, you can't really predict the win. It's kind of weird that like a team like the Eagles, who was so dominant last year, just can't even, and I think in general, like, who have they even lost? Like, I feel like they've only added, like they added Swift. I feel like they've only gotten upgrades, and they're just not playing well.
I think this is where coaching comes in, because you see what Shane Steichen's doing with the Colts with Gardner Minshew. They're still a top 10 offense, and I think it's points or yards, maybe both. They haven't missed a beat. The Eagles' play calling has been questionable. They switched to Matt Patricia last game for defensive play calls, and I mean, I guess it worked for a majority, but I mean, allowing a game-winning drive to Drew Lock, 90-plus yards, that's going to sting. And Jalen Hurts' play is just falling off a cliff right now, 100%. Especially in the passing game. But with that being said, I think we can make our I can't believe it's already week 16 predictions. Got a multiple games, and we start tomorrow night. I don't know if you want to start with the New Orleans Saints, 7-7, firmly in the NFC South race,
Yep.
playing a team firmly in the wild card race, and the Rams also at 7-7 at LA. So if you want to start.
I think this is going to be a better game for the Rams. I just don't think I know the Saints are doing well in their division because they're in the worst division, but I think when they play teams that are outside of that, it's really not a good game for them. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
I agree. The Saints are an average team. Derek Carr has not lived up to the signing. They're only in the running because the NFC South is not that great. But the Rams have been playing some great ball recently. Matthew Stafford, with all the injuries, is definitely back in that top 10 conversation for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper Kupp's heating up at the right time. You still
That's
got
actually something I want to talk about at the end of the video. Is I saw a lot of top 10 wide receiver lists this year that were completely weird. And I just wanted to see what you thought of that.
All right, yeah, let's do that at the end. We'll throw that in. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, that Williams running back, Kyrell Williams, has stepped into that running back one role for the Rams, and their offense is clicking. So I'm going with the Rams in this one too.
Yeah.
And then with that being said, we head into, I believe, yes, once again, a couple Saturday games, and it starts with an AFC North battle between the Bengals going to Pittsburgh. For me in this one, the Steelers need to prove to me that they can win before I pick them again. They were 7-4, and they had the Cardinals and Patriots coming up. They lost both of them. They could have been 9-4, and this team could have been just rolling. But instead, they're desperate. They're out of the wild card spot right now.
Yeah.
And the Bengals are just playing better ball. They're the better team, I think, even with Joe Burrow injured. Mitch Trubisky can't do anything. There's question marks with George Pickens. So I just trust the Bengals and what they've built over the last couple of years. Like I said, despite not having Joe Burrow to beat the Steelers.
I agree. And the Steelers look like they're going with Mason Rudolph as the starter this week. Yeah. And I have no faith in the Steelers right now. So I'm going to go with the Bengals.
And then the Saturday night game is the red hot Buffalo Bills versus the Los Angeles Chargers. If you want to start with this one.
Chargers picked it up a little bit last week, but I got to go with my Bills. You know, they've been playing good. They just beat the Dallas Cowboys. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're just the better team if they play well. So I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now with the Chargers. This will be their first game without Brandon Staley after getting blown out by the Raiders. I think they'll be a little bit better. Obviously, they'll show more heart, but the Bills are just
Is Herbert back? What's the deal with
that?
No,
Herbert's out for the year.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, so they're riding Easton Stick game 2, but that's not going to be an ideal matchup. So I got the Bills winning this one pretty easily. And then we move into the Sunday games. Very interesting one. Colts 8-6 traveling to the Falcons, who are coming off that Panthers loss. And after that, I'm out on the Falcons. Never was really high on them, but I appreciate their defense and what Jesse Bates has done. But I think the Colts just have more to play for now. They're the better team. I think if the Falcons miss the playoffs, which I think they will, Arthur Smith should be fired. I mean, this was a disaster. Started by not using Bijan Robinson properly and just choosing Desmond Ridder, who's was never that great of a college quarterback. I know they made the Final Four once against Alabama and got destroyed in a weak conference, but I trust the Colts right now. They got the better team, and it looks like Michael Pittman may end up actually playing in this one. So I'm just gonna roll with the Colts.
Yeah, me too. Enough said.
And then the Packers travel to Carolina to face a Carolina team that is scrappy on defense, I guess, is what you can leave it at best.
No brainer. Anybody but the Panthers every week.
Yeah, maybe Bryce Young can get going against this Packers defense, but it's not going to be enough. I think the Packers will win this one pretty easily.
100%. They better.
Yeah. And then a really interesting one, it looks like CJ Stroud is still not going to play this week. The Cleveland Browns traveling to Houston. Houston pulled off actually a win against the Titans with Case Keenum,
Yep.
carrying over a little bit of that carpet ride with the Vikings like 6 years ago as the backup. But I'm not really sold on with the Texans without CJ Stroud or Tank Dell
Who
and
did the
Eagle.
Titans play last week?
The Titans versus played the Texans, and the Texans kicked a game-winning field goal to
Right.
win 19-16. Houston will keep it scrappy, but the Browns defense, I think, will eat Case Keenum alive in this one. And I trust Joe Flacco to make enough plays to win this one for the Browns.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Browns too, but I really hope the Titans stick with Will Levis over the offseason and kind of develop him a little bit and build the team around him because I think I think that he'll put up a fight in this game. I don't think he'll win because I don't think the team overall is better, but I'd like to see Will Levis stick around though.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then moving into the next one, an NFC North matchup, we have the Detroit Lions traveling to face the Vikings, 1 p.m. If you want to start this one.
It's tough to go with the Vikings right now, you know. I
Yeah,
mean, Jefferson's back. They can cook a little bit. And they're pretty good. But I think the Lions are just the better team in this division, and I feel like with the division rivalry, it'll be close. But I feel like the Lions have pulled it together a little bit. I'm gonna go with the Lions.
I agree. The Lions are the better team. But what kind of fan would I be if I didn't pick my own team?
Yeah,
I think the Vikings had the Bengals beat, but Nick Mullins made some stupid end zone interceptions. But I think if this is I don't know, I think this is a perfect matchup for the Vikings offense. Detroit's defense isn't that good. Obviously, we've seen them get torched multiple times. And I
yeah,
think just having Justin Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, and actually seeing Ty Chandler as the RB1 for the Vikings was a really promising thing to finally see the run game going. Hopefully, he continues to be the running back one, head over 130 rushing yards and some nice passes, or nice pass catches, I should say. And I mean, it's going to be a close game. I think they're going to end up splitting because they actually play 2 times in the next 3 weeks. But I'll roll with the Vikings at home. I think they're a little bit more desperate, obviously. I think the Lions have this division locked up and
hmm
we'll secure it next week. But I'll keep my Vikings hopes alive for a playoff push. Then we move to, oh gosh, the Commanders versus the Jets. Probably won't be watching this, but I guess I'll start. Um, I don't know who to pick here, but I guess it's really a pick 'em game. But I guess since the Jets are at home, I trust their defense a little bit more. But I don't even know. The Commanders went to Jacoby Brissett last
all
week
right.
game. But I guess I'll take the Jets. I don't know, maybe like a 10-3 score.
Yeah, I mean, are they not playing Sam Howell? I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know. But he got taken out, and Brissett actually looked good at the end. Got the Commanders a couple touchdown drives, but I don't even know what's going on in Washington now. I just think the Jets, I mean, at home, maybe that defense can force a couple turnovers. It's going to be a low scoring game, I think. But
Yeah, I think they'll kick a few field goals and win it. I'll go with the Jets on this one too.
yeah. And then moving into our last 1 o'clock game, the Seattle Seahawks, after their impressive win, travel to Tennessee. Who do you have winning this one?
You know, Seahawks played good against a team that would probably destroy the Titans. The Titans got a lot of heart though, so it might be a close game, and I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go with the Seahawks on this one because they just seem like the better team to me right now.
Yeah,
At least.
even I think Gino will be back for this one. But even no matter who starts, DK's been balling lately. Nice trust. JSN has been coming along as the Seahawks with him, Tyler
Yep,
Lockett, DK. I think they'll have enough. Their defense is actually pretty scrappy too, with Witherspoon and some of their playmakers. I like the
agreed.
Seahawks in this one too. Um, and then moving into the 4 o'clock games. Pretty interesting one actually too. A lot of these, aren't easy. The Jacksonville Jaguars go to Tampa Bay to face the NFC South leading Bucks right now.
It's a toss up. I mean,
Yeah, I guess I I think I haven't really thought about it too much, but I think the Jaguars need to win one soon. They're on a 3-game losing
Yeah.
streak. Um, I think Trevor Lawrence will play one of his better games. He needs to. Was very sloppy in the Ravens game, multiple fumbles. But I think the Jaguars are just more desperate. They need to win this division. There's a lot of pressure on them, and I think they'll get it done in Tampa
Yeah.
Bay.
I think that's fair. I mean, they're in Tampa Bay though, so and I like the way Baker's been cooking, so I'm gonna go with the Bucks on this one just to disagree
All
with you.
right. All right, so that's our second game we're different from. But yeah, it's pretty much a
Is Mike
50-50.
Evans in? Is he good?
Um, I don't know if he practiced yesterday. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it specifically,
Okay.
but yeah, he didn't show up on the injury report, so I guess he'll probably be good to go.
All right, cool. Just making sure.
Yeah, so we're split on that in the Battle of South Florida. There's Florida. And then we got also probably one that won't be very well watched is the Arizona Cardinals versus the Chicago Bears.
I mean, you could pick either team here. Honestly, like the Bears, I feel like are the better team here. Just like, I mean, they have these like weird games where they beat good teams, and I just haven't really seen that out of the Cardinals. I think Kyler's pretty washed too. He's not playing as well as he used to.
Yeah, he can't throw the ball right now.
He's playing too much COD, dude. He needs to get off that.
Yeah, I like the Bears in this one too. They're scrappy. They've been playing a lot better ball over the last month, even with the loss to Cleveland. So I'll
The
go with
battle
them.
of mid.
Yeah. But then we get into a really exciting one. The 425, probably the game of the week, if it wasn't for the upcoming game we'll talk about later. The Dallas Cowboys go to the Miami Dolphins, a battle of two 10-4 teams. But once again, Miami's at home. I feel like I've said that for like the
Again?
yeah, it felt like it's been a lot of Miami home games for them. For me, I'm still kind of
Kind
back
of a
and
tough
forth.
one.
It's back and forth for me.
Agreed.
But I'm gonna actually go with the Cowboys until I know their struggles are on the road, but I think they want to prove something after getting embarrassed last week. And for Miami, until they beat a team above 500, like I can't pick them because they just have not proven that they can beat teams that are with their level or above them. And
Yeah.
that's been all their losses besides the Titans one. Just playing teams that are just just as physical with them. And I think the Dallas defense with Bland and Gilmore will not obviously stop, but hopefully contain Tyreek and Waddle. I think Dallas will just bounce back on offense and
I
just get.
agree.
I think it'll be a
The
close one.
Dolphins have a pretty weak defense, and I think they
Yeah.
allow a lot of dumb scores and stuff like that. But I'm gonna go with Dak on this one.
Yeah. All right. So we're both all right. And then to end it, Sunday night, Patriots versus Broncos.
Broncos.
Yeah, I can go with Broncos too. Not much to be said. And then our Christmas Day games, starting with the Raiders versus the Chiefs.
The Raiders have been playing so good that like I wouldn't be surprised if they upset the Chiefs. But the Chiefs are a good team. They're well rounded. They've been around for a bit. I'm probably just gonna go with Mahomes on this one. Although
Yeah,
it would be nice to see the Raiders win.
It could be closer. The Raiders always give the Chiefs fits, but I'll go with KC in a close one.
I won't be mad if the Raiders win though.
Oh no. Just anytime Mahomes complains, it's a good thing. And then the 4:30, the Giants face the Eagles. I think this is a perfect bounce back game for the Eagles. They're in a slump right now. This is a get right game. Figure some things out. The Eagles control their own destiny for the NFC East, and I don't think they'll lose another game the rest of the season with this schedule.
I mean, I really hope they beat the Giants because if they don't, they definitely have no shot at the Super Bowl if they don't win this one. Because I already don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I think the Niners have their number, and I think Dallas has their number. So, yeah, I hope they beat the Giants this week because that would be embarrassing for them.
Yeah. All right. And then the Christmas night game. The Baltimore Ravens, the number one seed in the AFC, go to San Francisco to face the number one team in the NFC.
Yep.
Who do you got in this one?
It's an exciting matchup, and I love the way Lamar's been playing. He played really well last week, and it's been nice watching the Ravens play all season. But I mean, who can stop the Niners? I mean, the Niners defense, the Niners offense, they've just been playing really good. I mean, McCaffrey's chasing an MVP. I think it's going to be a good game. I hope it's going to be a good game. But when you match them up on paper, I'm liking the 49ers.
And I'm going to agree with you, all the right things. I just think the Ravens are a good team, but the 49ers, what they've done, I mean, offense, defense, special teams, I think arguably the best coach in the league right now with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I will say a lot of respect to Lamar on this because
Yeah.
Cam Newton kind of said it best. I think Brock Purdy is a game manager, more of like a game manager rather than
Yeah.
like a player that makes a difference. Like Lamar is a player that makes a difference. If Lamar wasn't on that offense, it wouldn't be the offense it is. But if
Yeah.
Brock Purdy can kind of be interchanged. I know he's a good player. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah. I would say he's like a better quarterback than like Jimmy G, but he's not gonna Lamar, what he does, just elevating that offense. But I think it's just going to be too much. Lamar's running ability. You have Chase Young, Nick Bosa off the edges to make life difficult. And just the 49ers, they got all those weapons. The Ravens have a great defense, but might be a bad matchup for them. I think it will be somewhat close, but I'm going to take San Francisco in this one as well.
Yeah, sure.
So with that being said, we got two separate games once again. And then now we'll move in, I guess, to our final topic and a half. I know you have the receiver rankings, but first, I guess we can talk about real quick, just kind of like the MVP award. I know there's been a lot of discussion, about like who should be the MVP. And for me, I think now it's become more clear that I think it has to go to like Christian McCaffrey.
If it doesn't, I'd be really surprised. I mean,
I
I'd
think
either go McCaffrey or Lamar.
I think to prevent this problem, you have to just make a best quarterback award for the season. Because if you want to give it to Brock Purdy, then sure, why not? He's had a great year. Or make the case for him. Or, someone like Dak who's balled out, played above their level than expected. But when you can see the most valuable player, the other teams that talk about, they look to, scheme to stop McCaffrey. Because once you stop McCaffrey in the passing and rushing game, he's very valuable in both. Then you can kind of take away from the others. So I think it speaks a lot to what McCaffrey's done this year. And if he's put up probably even close to a great season as Adrian Peterson had when he won the MVP with over 2,000 rushing yards, kind of had the same, style in which you guys stop them to stop the offense. And what he's done has been amazing. And I just, it'll be interesting to see what happens down at the end. But I think it's got to be a McCaffrey MVP.
Agreed. Yeah, I really hope so. You know how I stand on this. I think McCaffrey's earned it. I think a lot of people agree with me now. And I just think, like, if not McCaffrey, like maybe Lamar, based on how great he's played this year. But other than that, I mean, I don't think Purdy really deserves it. I don't think, he's not really the difference maker on the 49ers, in my opinion.
And that's where I agree with you. He's been, like I said, the Kyle Shanahan system is, very, you can, like, a lot of QBs can step into it. And Brock Purdy's probably done better than what most QBs can do. But,
Agreed.
You also got to think about, the weapons with them, the scheme open. I mean, you see Debo running free for like 10 yards. It's like, oh, yeah, he was open, touchdown. Or McCaffrey here, take this to the house, or, take this wheel route, and do your thing. But, yeah, I hope if it does go to a QB, we solve this problem down the line with like a future, best quarterback award and most valuable player. Because, I mean, you can also make the case probably back in like 2020, I know Aaron Rodgers had a great year and probably deserved it, but it was a shame to not hear a lot of Derrick Henry's steam.
Agreed.
Is how valuable he was to the Titans and basically their whole offense, and led the Titans to like an AFC South title and the top seed. Because when you have Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback and you're hosting playoff games, I think that speaks something to how good Derrick Henry was. But
Agreed.
and then if you kind of want to end, we can end it on your wide receiver. You said you had like a list or something that you saw, or
So I saw a list online that got a lot of attention, and I saw basically that like I'd say it was pretty average, but they left out Mike Evans in the top 10, and I also saw Brandon Ayuk in there, and I saw at like 7, and I saw who was it? I think it was Jordan Addison too in the top 10 wide receivers in the league. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that and maybe your top 10.
yeah, when I think if it really depends. If you saw, I don't know if it was top 10 receivers right now are based on this season because Ayuk has actually been really good this season. But Mike Evans, another 1,000-yard season. Baker Mayfield, you don't know. He's Mr. Consistency. You can throw anyone in there. The GOAT, Baker Mayfield, whoever their QB was before Tom Brady.
Agreed.
Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing games for him, and Mike Evans was still putting up 1,000 yards. So I think leaving him out, he's always going to be in my top 10 until he officially falls off because it's like 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. It's ridiculous. Never gets injured, for like long period of time. So he's going to be reliable. And he's always going to give you what you need. And he's a great jump ball catcher, red zone threat. And then I think as for like the Ayuk talks, I would say, that kind of he's been so good this year. But I mean, also when you think of anything San Francisco related, I'd say besides McCaffrey, you got to think about the scheme. When you have weapons, and I think this can also be the same argument for Jordan Addison too. When you have weapons like Debo Samuel, George Kittle, and in the Vikings case, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, they're gonna draw a lot of attention. So you're gonna have those one-on-one matchups, and you got to win those. But that's why Ayuk can succeed. And I think Jordan Addison has also been a really good rookie. He's performed better than I expected. But you can see the difference when you have Jefferson on the field last week. Oh, Addison's single coverage, he can beat someone. It's when they draw those double teams, can they really succeed? And there was a while in that like little slump the Vikings had where he just, was facing those double teams when Jettis was injured and couldn't overcome them. But I expect him to grow. But I would say like when you think about at least the top 10, I would say Mike Evans is in there. It's close between Ayuk and Debo because Debo is also that rushing threat too, and what he poses after the catch.
I'd say Debo though.
Yeah, I'd lean Debo. Obviously, you have at the top Tyreek. I would still have Cooper Kupp in the top 10. He's come back to life. And then obviously I still, Monra is in there. I would still have Jefferson 1 or 2, AJ Brown. Slight argument. I mean, Devontae Smith has been really good. CD Lamb.
Adams.
Devontae Adams is still in there. CD Lamb. So I would say like those are the main guys, but then you have guys like Ayuk and
honorable mention to like DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
maybe, like
I would say Ayuk and Jordan Addison can obviously have a lot more time to creep up there. But I gotta respect Ayuk. He's been balling. I'd say Addison obviously has a lot of room to grow, but he's been really solid as a rookie. And it will take time. It'll be interesting, but yeah, I'd say it's very tough. If you gave them all the same QB, like who would be the best? Because I think there's kind of like a chemistry thing. Like Devontae Adams' numbers have fallen off, but he's also been playing with Derek Carr last year, who was kind of poop,
and now Aiden O'Connell,
and Jimmy Garoppolo at the beginning. I still don't know why he chose to sign there or get traded to there. That was stupid.
I think it was for Derek to play with Derek Carr.
Yeah, but when you have Aaron Rodgers, I don't know why you're trying to leave that come and go to Derek Carr. All
I
due
don't know
respect to
either.
Derek Carr, solid QB, but he's not going to do what Aaron Rodgers and him had. So I
Yeah.
think a lot. But yeah, it's been great to see Amon-Ra peak up, and obviously shout out to my fantasy wide receiver one, Stephon Diggs. But you need to get better, please.
He
But
should be up there too, yeah.
obviously his route running is great, and it'll be interesting to kind of see how the rest of the season plays out.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think there's anything else you want to talk about, or if we're good, kind of see how it's big week playoff wise, see how the games play out, and we hope to get you guys a video after next week recapping the games and see where the playoffs stand. And believe it or not, we're like 2 weeks away from the playoffs. So,
Hell yeah.
all right. With that being said, we'll wrap up this video and catch you guys in the next one.